Welcome to Melanated Moments with Erica, a sacred space curated with guided meditation and impartations for your journey as a melanated woman pursuing wellness in the present moment and beyond. Join Erica St. Bernard, a licensed marriage and family therapist, as together you build capacity for curious exploration that inspires wellness in ways that amplify authentic living. Allow melanated moments to be a part of your holistic journey to be well, live well, and love well.
Greetings, melanated woman. Welcome back to Melanated Moments. I'm Erica St. Bernard, and I am so glad that you are here. I invite you to join me for a moment of sacred pause and breath. Before we get started, grab your journaling tools of preference so you can note your experience. I'll be here when you return if you need to pause the audio. I invite you to settle into your space and allow your body to soften as you feel the chair supporting you. You might press the soles of your feet onto the floor or wiggle your toes as you choose to place one hand on your chest and one on your belly, or rest both hands on your lap, or allow them to fall by your sides. I invite you to make yourself comfortable wherever you are, as you choose to close your eyes or soften your gaze as you lower your eyes to the floor. I invite you to notice your breath. Bring your attention to your inhale and exhale. Simply notice what happens when you turn your attention to your breath. Take a few more natural breaths. Now, I invite you to join me in a series of deep breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose and hold for a count of 4. 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale. Inhale deeply through your nose and hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale. Inhale deeply through your nose and hold for 4. 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale. Inhale deeply through your nose, holding for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale. Inhale deeply through your nose, holding for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale. Once more, inhale deeply through your nose, what you'd like to receive. And hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then exhale longer than your inhale, what you'd like to release. One of the most frustrating experiences in relationships is doing your own work. That might include learning how to communicate better, breaking old patterns, showing up differently, and then running straight into someone who is still using every old pattern in the book. You've been practicing I statements. They're still saying you always. You've been working on staying regulated during the conflict. They're still exploding or shutting down. You've been trying to address issues early. They're still letting things build up over time until things erupt. If this is you or has been your experience, I want you to know your growth is not wasted just because someone else hasn't grown yet. I'll say it again for the people in the back. Your growth is not wasted just because someone else hasn't grown in the same ways yet. I also want to be honest and say that staying grounded when others don't fight fair is one of the hardest relationship skills to develop. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Let me share some scriptures that speak to this specific challenge. Romans chapter 12, verse 18 reads, "If it is possible, As much as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. I love this verse because of those first four words, if it is possible. Paul acknowledges that peace isn't always achievable. Sometimes it depends on whether the other person is willing to engage. Your responsibility is always your part, though, not theirs. Sacred text from Romans chapter 12, verse 21 tells us, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. This verse isn't just about dramatic situations. It applies to relationships where old, harmful patterns keep showing up. Your response? Staying grounded and choosing your next move wisely is how you overcome without being overly influenced by what you're responding to. And our last scripture today, Proverbs 19, verse 11 reads, a person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. Patience here isn't passive endurance. It's the active choice to stay rooted in who you are and the work you've done, even when someone else is operating from a different place entirely. Your growth is not validated by their participation, but it does require that you stay grounded and anchored when others try to pull you toward old dynamics. Let's talk honestly about what it feels like when growth is uneven in a relationship. Maybe you've done your reading, you've been to therapy, you've done your reflections, and you've prayed. You've started responding differently. You're catching yourself before you shut down or before you explode. You're having harder conversations earlier and you're using new language. And then you try to have a real conversation with your partner or maybe a sibling, maybe a parent or even a friend, and they respond exactly the way they always have, with defensiveness, deflection, the explosion, and sometimes a silence that lasts for days. In that moment, a few things can happen. You can get pulled back into the old pattern. Their escalation activates your old response. Suddenly, you're both operating from the same old script, and whatever progress you've made feels invisible. You can overcorrect into silence. You've worked so hard not to explode that you swing to the other extreme and don't say anything at all. This isn't the goal. It's a different version of the same avoidance. You can stay grounded. This is the hardest and most powerful choice. You can feel the pull of the old pattern and recognize it and choose differently anyway. Here's what I hope you'll understand. Staying grounded when others don't fight fair is not about being perfect. It is about being intentional. Before we talk about how to stay grounded, it helps to understand why people respond the way they do. This list is not exhaustive, but here are a few ideas. They haven't done the work yet. Growth takes time, willingness, and often a catalyst. Your growth might eventually inspire theirs, but that's their journey, not yours to manage. Their nervous system is activated. When people, including us, feel attacked or threatened, even when that's not your intention, they may respond from a survival place. This is not about you. It's about what their body believes it needs to do to stay safe in that moment. Maybe they don't have the tools yet. You can't use skills you've never been taught. You can't use a tool that's not in your toolkit. Some people genuinely don't know how to do conflict differently, not because they don't want healthy relationships, but because they've never seen it modeled. Let's be honest, for some, old patterns feel safer. Even unhealthy patterns provide a kind of predictability, and change even healthy change, can feel threatening to someone who hasn't chosen it for themselves. Understanding why does not mean excusing harmful behavior. It means you're responding to the full human in front of you rather than just the behavior they're exhibiting. So, how do you actually stay grounded when someone else isn't fighting fair? I'm glad you asked. I have a few strategies to share. Strategy 1, know your triggers before the conversation. Before engaging in difficult conversations, identify what behaviors are most likely to pull you back into old patterns. Is it when someone raises their voice? Is it when they deflect? Is it when they go silent? Knowing your triggers helps you prepare rather than react. Strategy 2, create an internal anchor. Before and during difficult conversations, have something to return to internally. Maybe a verse of scripture, a phrase or mantra, or even a breath practice. Something that helps you stay connected to who you are choosing to be, regardless of what's happening around you. Strategy 3, name what's happening without blame. Instead of escalating when you notice old patterns, try naming them calmly. I notice we're getting into a pattern that doesn't quite serve us. Can we take a few minutes to come back to this? This interrupts the cycle without assigning fault or blame. Strategy 4, hold your boundary without matching their energy. You can be clear about what you will and won't engage with without raising your voice or shutting down. It might sound like, I'm not going to be able to continue this conversation if you are yelling. I want to talk about this, but I need us to bring the volume down first. Strategy 5, know when to pause. Sometimes the most powerful thing you and I can do is disengage temporarily, not as a punishment, but as wisdom. It might sound like, I care about resolving this. I need some time to gather myself. Let's revisit this in an hour or at another agreed upon time. Strategy 6, process separately. Have a place and a space to process what you're experiencing, what you're thinking, and what you're feeling that does not include the other person. It might be a therapist, a trusted friend, a journal. We need somewhere to put what we're carrying so it doesn't all come out sideways in the next conversation. Strategy 7, celebrate your own growth. When you handle a difficult moment differently than you would have before, acknowledge that, even if no one else does. Your growth is real, whether it's witnessed or not. Here's one of the hardest truths about relationships. You cannot make someone else grow. You can model healthy conflict resolution. You can invite them into better patterns. You can share resources, express your needs, and seek counseling together. But ultimately, their growth is their choice. What you can control, how you show up in conflict, whether you return to old patterns or continue to choose new ones, what you will and won't engage with when you seek support for yourself, what you decide about the relationship over time, what you cannot control, whether they choose to grow, whether they will use the skills or resources you've shared, how quickly they change, whether they ever change. And sometimes, after doing your part faithfully, After inviting growth, after seeking support, you may have to make decisions about what's sustainable for you. That is not failure. That is wisdom. This week, I invite you to reflect on the following questions. In which relationships are you doing the work while others stay in old patterns? What triggers pull you back into unhealthy conflict patterns? What internal anchor could help you stay grounded during difficult conversations? What's one thing you can celebrate about how you're showing up differently? Beloved, your growth is not contingent on someone else's timeline. You are indeed allowed to become healthier, more grounded, and more intentional in your relationships, even if and when others haven't made that choice yet. Stay rooted in who you're becoming. Keep doing your work. And trust that your consistency, your groundedness, your willingness to show up differently, all of that matters, even when it doesn't quite feel like it. For my Maryland residents seeking therapeutic support for navigating difficult relationship dynamics, visit the link in the show notes to schedule a therapy consultation. For my global community seeking coaching to stay grounded while building healthier relationships, visit the link in the show notes for more information. Don't forget to join our Melanated Moments community for Sacred Sunday. Messages that arrive in your inbox each week with encouragement for your journey. And if you prefer to watch rather than listen, Melanated Moments is now available on YouTube. You can find us at youtube.com/@Erica St. Bernard YLW. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a visual melanated moment. All of these links are provided in the show notes. Beloved, you cannot control how others fight, but you can control how you show up. And that changes everything. Be well, live well, love well.
Thank you for listening to Melanated Moments with Erica. This podcast is brought to you by Your Life's Well, leaders in individual, marriage, and family therapy since 2017. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our show on Apple or Spotify. To stay up to date with Melanated Moments, follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Your Life's Well, or visit us at yourlifeswell.com. Stay tuned for our next episode of Melanated Moments with Erica. Until then, we invite you to stay well, live well, and be well.